Go ahead and come to your yoga mat. We will start laying down, but before you get too comfy, make sure you have a block or two like halfway up the mat, somewhere you can grab without having to get back up again. And just go ahead and find your way down to some kind of comfortable lying position. Maybe it's Shavasana with your arms outstretched, your legs out long. Maybe it's constructive rest today with your knees bent and your feet standing up at the edges of your mat. If you kind of pick up your pelvis and kind of tuck it under a little bit so you can lengthen out that low back and then set back down, that can be really nice, especially if you're feeling any low back tightness today. And if there are any other poses or variations you want to try, go right ahead. And once you get nice and settled, just starting to scan through your body in no particular order. Just see where your attention wanders next. Just noticing your physical body. Any sensations that are present. And taking a moment to scan your energetic body. How's your energy in this moment? Has it been a long day so far? Your tank running kind of low? Or are you feeling pretty good? Pretty energized? Nothing's right or wrong, good or bad. We're just figuring out where we are with a little check-in. Start to notice your breath here. And if it's available to breathe just through your nose, we'll find our proper oral posture by sealing your lips, parting the biting surfaces of your teeth just a tiny bit, or they can be gently touching. And then rest your tongue up on the roof of your mouth. And then start to notice or imagine that your nasal passageways are getting kind of wider, more clear with each breath, so it becomes easier and easier for you to breathe. Whatever feels like full breaths to you. We want to start sending the body and the nervous system some nice, gentle, relaxing signals. So just do your best not to strain in any way for today's class. That doesn't mean you can't challenge yourself a little bit here, but as soon as you find that edge between effort and straining, rein it on in. Take it back to this nice sweet spot of a place. And breathing deep down to the lowest parts of your lungs for diaphragmatic breathing or belly breathing. Breathing all the way in through your nose, down to the lowest parts here. Sometimes people respond well to the cueing, like breathe into the pelvis or breathe all the way down to the sacrum. For me, it's kind of amazing. It really feels like, wow, there's a lot more room to breathe into than I thought. So see if that fits you. And just keep breathing. And as you do, see if you can soften the muscles of your face. Let your shoulders kind of relax down. Release any tension through your hands, through the torso, down through the legs and feet. And if you'd like to set an intention today, now is a wonderful time to bring something or someone to mind. And we'll take 3 rounds of Brahmari Pranayama or bumblebee breath. And we'll do kind of a simplified version where you don't have to use your hands at all. Sometimes you can like close off your eyes and your nose and your mouth and your ears with your hands, but let's keep it simple here. We're just going to take a nice big breath in. Then as you exhale, hum the exhale out. Any note will do. You can make it a melody if you'd like, just humming for your entire exhale. So give it a go. 3 rounds through. You don't have to match with me. Let's give it a go. Inhaling through the nose and humming it out. Keep going 3 times total. And you might notice if your teeth get kind of close together, they even vibrate a little bit, which can kind of add to that bee-like sound. So go ahead and continue. Finishing up whenever you're done. Let's come back to a normal, steady pace of breath here. And notice any reverberations from that pranayama. And let's take 3 clearing breaths next. We'll inhale through the nose. This time, open mouth, exhale with a sigh through your mouth. Giving the abdominals a little squeeze at the end, getting all that air out. Go ahead, 2 more times. 3 total here. Start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Turn your head from side to side a couple of times, nice and slow, giving the neck a little chance to warm up a bit. And heading into a long body stretch, straightening arms and legs, reaching them in opposite directions, reaching and stretching. Good, good. Okay, bringing your hands down by your sides. Let's go through a bridge pose a couple of times here. Knees bent, feet standing up on the floor, comfortable distance from your seat. If you ever feel any knee problems as you start going, you can kind of toe heel your feet out toward the edges or even take a step forward toward the top of your mat with your feet. Bring your hands down by the sides of the mat. Tuck your shoulder blades in a little bit so your chest starts puffing up. And then tuck your tailbone under so you're kind of flattening your low back down to the floor. With an inhale, start to press down through the feet and shoulders and arms as you lift up the pelvis, reaching those hip points up. And then exhale to lower back down. We'll do that a couple times. Inhale as you rise. Exhale as you lower. Find that edge between challenge and not straining, just right there at maybe a little challenge. Find that sweet spot of effort. Just a couple more times. Inhaling as you rise and exhaling as you lower. We'll get a little fancy here. This time we'll inhale and rise and stay lifted for your exhale. With your inhale, rise up to your tippy toes. Exhale, lower your heels, lower everything back down. Good. Toe heel your feet out wide toward the edges of your mat, maybe bringing your arms out to a T as well. Let's take some little windshield wiper twists here. So just letting your knees kind of twist over toward one side and then up and over to the other side. Just go ahead and do that back and forth a couple times. Getting just a little twist going through that low part of the spine, through the hips as well. Good. Okay. Now bring your feet a little bit closer together. If you can imagine, about hip width distance apart. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to grab onto a block here, or if you don't have a block, a pillow might also work. You can give it a try. We're going to lift up the pelvis, scoot that block on the lowest setting down below the sacrum, kind of the back of the pelvis there. You can always change it around a little bit, or if it feels more stable to have two blocks side by side on the lowest setting beneath you, go ahead and do that. Just feel what it feels like to be in this supported bridge pose for a couple moments. Knees are bent, feet standing up. And then we will start to straighten that left leg a little bit. So we can kind of inch it forward toward that top of your mat, top edge of your mat. See if you can keep it somewhat straight. You might start to notice a nice hip flexor opener here through that left hip as you straighten your leg. If it's too much, you can always bend your knee a little bit more, come back up. If you would like to take it one step farther, you can reach to grab hold of that right knee, picking that right leg up off of the floor, and just kind of hug that right knee in toward the direction of your right armpit. And then circle that right ankle a couple times both ways as you open that left hip. You can point and flex through the right ankle and toes a couple times as well. Getting some motion through that right ankle joint. And then we'll point and flex through that left ankle and toes a couple times and just notice, does that do anything for your hip flexor stretch? Notice what's going on when you flex and point. And just rest here. See if you can soften your shoulders a bit and take one more breath in and one more breath out. Plant your right foot back down on the floor. Arms can come out wide and start to lift that left leg up. You can bend it a little bit as you get higher if that feels better. Just press down through the right foot and lift and straighten or almost straighten that right leg. And we're going to bend the left knee. Sorry, the left leg. I'm not sure if I said that. Left knee bends, left knee straightens a couple of times. Just getting a little bit of circulation here going through that left leg. Bending and straightening a couple times. Good. And then you can circle out that left ankle a bit. We'll give it a nice moment here as we switch sides. So bend your left knee, set your left foot down on the ground here. And then we'll start to kind of inch that right foot forward, straightening your right leg a little bit, keeping it on the floor. Just notice here, does it feel okay to straighten all the way? Do you want to keep a slight bend in your right knee? See what's going on here for you. If you need to adjust your block for more comfort, please do. And this could be a nice place to stay if that knee in on the other side didn't feel super great. But if you do want to take it a step farther, we'll reach to grab hold of that left knee and just gently pull it in toward the left armpit. Now we'll spend some extra time giving that left ankle some love, some movement. So just circling in both directions, and pointing and flexing a few times. And then point and flex through that right foot and ankle a couple times, or the right toes and ankle a couple times. Just seeing, can you tell if it's doing anything? It might be really subtle for your right hip flexors. And then just relax here. Try to soften your shoulders down, soften your face. Letting that block just hold all your weight. One more breath in. One more breath out. Plant your left foot on the ground. Start to lift and straighten or almost straighten that right leg up. And then bend your right knee and straighten the right leg a couple times, just bending and straightening the right knee. Good. If there's any other movements that right ankle or foot is needing, go ahead and do that now. Maybe spreading the toes out or giving it another little circle. And then set the right foot down on the ground. Pick up the pelvis just enough to slide that block out from underneath you. And then lower down. Let's pull those knees in toward the chest and just see if you can target that area that the block was just on. Just give that area a little massage, circling your knees a little bit, both ways, just kind of freestyle in here as you move to massage out that sacrum area. Good, good, good. Okay. We'll come on up to a seat next. You could rock and roll a couple times up and down the spine or turn to either side and find your way up. No rush. Eventually, in a comfortable seat, we'll tent the fingertips off to the sides and then sit up nice and tall, lengthening upwards through the crown of your head. Do a little bit of breathing and side bending here. So with our inhales, let's reach up nice and slow, looking up toward your palms as they join. Exhale, side bend to the right. Right hand lowers, left arm reaches. Inhale, come back up to the center. Exhale, side bend to the left. Left hand lowers to the floor, right arm reaches. Now that we've got the hang of it, go ahead at your own pace. We're inhaling as we rise and exhaling as we side bend to the other side. Just a few times through. One more time on both sides. Just make sure you end on the left. And coming to center when you're done, take your time. Lower your hands back down, any which way. Good. All right, let's come on around to hands and knees for cat and cow. Spreading the fingertips wide, hands right below the shoulders, knees below the hips. Inhale as you lower your belly, lifting your gaze and your tailbone, finding cow pose. And exhale as you round your spine, tucking your pelvis, tucking your chin, reaching up through the mid-back, cat pose. Keep going now. You're inhaling as you lift your gaze, finding cow. Exhale to cat. Keep going a couple more times. Next time you're in cat pose, you might try letting your head kind of just be looser here, kind of pausing in cat pose as you continue breathing, and maybe reach your right ear toward your right shoulder for a moment. And then switching sides, left ear toward the left shoulder. And go ahead and continue a couple more cat and cows if you'd like. And whenever you have finished up there, let's find our way to extended child's pose. Knees come out wide toward the edges of your mat, big toes touching behind you. You might sink your seat toward your heels a bit if that feels okay on your knees and body. Otherwise, you can keep your hips lifted and just kind of lower your upper body, making this pose work for you. And option to either tent the fingertips up at the top of your mat for a little bit more of a shoulder and side stretch, or you can bring the palms together and bend your elbows so your prayer hands kind of come up behind your back, or the back of your head, rather. That'd be a lot of movement there if it was behind the back. So prayer hands behind the head. And if you're choosing the prayer hand variation, let's spread the palms out and press your fingertips together and just see what that does for your shoulders. Take a few belly breaths here. You can always change your variation. One more breath here. And then when you're ready, start to come up to tabletop. Let's find a downward dog. If you have your blocks and you like to use them like me, we'll bring them up to the top of the mat. Planting your hands on those blocks, start to curl your toes under, lifting your knees, reaching that tailbone high. Come on up to your tippy toes as you just reach your tailbone high. Find your breath here, sink those heels back down a little bit. Keep breathing, and maybe start to pedal your legs out, bending and straightening opposite knees a couple times. Press down through all the knuckles of each finger. Reach through your shoulders. If you tend to be a little hypermobile in your joints, just take a little bend of your elbows. One more breath in. One more breath out. Inhale as you bend your knees and look up to your hands. Exhale, step or walk your feet behind your blocks. Ragdoll forward fold here. Your feet could stay about hip width distance apart, or if it feels like there's too much pressure there in the belly or the lower part of the belly, you can toe heel your feet out wide and then take your forward fold, just giving your body a little more space, a little more breathing room. So your call here, you could try both ways even if you didn't feel that discomfort. You can go ahead. We're just letting that upper body hang kind of loose here, maybe swaying a little bit, maybe grabbing opposite elbows. You could bend and straighten opposite knees a couple times as you sway. You can always add on your own little bits of flair. And if your feet were toe heeled out wide, bringing them back a little closer, let's bend into the knees and then walk the hands up your legs as you come up to stand. We will give the body a little chance to calibrate and get some circulation going, just by giving the body a gentle wiggle or bounce, starting wherever you'd like. Maybe your shoulders want to go first, just giving them a little bounce or a little shake. You could lift and lower your heels a couple of times, just letting your muscles kind of shake a little bit, loosening everything up, getting that circulation going. I think sometimes this is my favorite part. Just feels nice. Anytime you need a little refresh in your day, or if you've been sitting for too long at your desk or what have you, just giving it a little shake if you're in a place where you can socially acceptably do that. Or not, your call. Okay, we're up at the top of our mats here. Take a look at your feet. Pick up your toes, spread them out, just hold them there for a second. Sometimes it helps if you spread your fingers out too. It's almost like mirroring somehow. And then set your feet down. Good. Spin the palms to face the front of your space, pulling the shoulder blades behind you gently. With your inhale, start to rise up to your tippy toes, lifting those heels, using the strength of your whole lower body. Even those glutes are kind of working all the way up. And then exhale as you lower down. As you do that a few more times, see if you can spend your entire inhale lifting, like you're just going in slow motion. You're like levitating in slow motion. And as you exhale, see if you can spend at least most of your exhale lowering. So it's just this really kind of delicate, slow movement, inhaling as you rise, and exhaling as you lower. Next time you are lowered, just stay there. If you need another wiggle, you can do that. And then we'll start our little flow today. So palms down by the sides here. With your inhale, reaching the arms around and up. Option to look up toward your hands as they join. Exhale, baby back bend, cactus, or bend the arms, bend the elbows, lift the heart and the gaze high. Inhale, reach back up, unwinding. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands to the shins, knees, or thighs. Anything to get your back in extension or kind of straight. And exhale, lower hands down to the floor or blocks. We're stepping the right foot back first and then the left to your high plank. One breath in. One breath out. Lower your knees, move those blocks to the side, and then lower your chest down to the floor. We'll get queued up here for kind of bow pose. You can bend both of your knees so your feet are hanging out in the air behind you. Sometimes it feels nicer to kind of widen your knees a little bit, so you could bring your thighs kind of out toward the sides of your mat a little bit more. Your call as we go. Let's straighten the arms down by our sides. So traditionally, bow pose, you grab onto your ankles, but we're going to do boat pose where we don't hold on to our feet. It's a more strengthening variation. So think about baby cobra as we go. We're going to pull the shoulder blades back together behind us. With your inhale, start to rise up, lifting your head and chest, and just reaching in the direction of your feet. Again, we're not going to hold on to our feet. Stay here for your exhale. 2 more breaths if you can. Exhale. 1 more breath in. And breath out. Lower everything down. Crocodile pose. Stacking your hands or your fists underneath your forehead. And resting your forehead on top. Let your heels splay out to the sides. See if you can feel an extra relieving sensation through your low back. Take a few slow breaths. Just a quick recovery from a pose that demands a lot of effort. And then plant your hands next to your chest. With an inhale, rise back up to tabletop. If you know you're going to use your blocks later, you can bring them back onto your mat. Then with an exhale, find your way to your favorite variation of child's pose. You could bring your knees out wide or have them a little closer together. You could take another one of those arm variations like we did earlier with prayer hands behind the head or tenting your fingertips up. You really want to get into the back a little more, you could bring your hands around so they end up by your ankles and your forehead or hairline kind of reaching into the floor, or a block if that suits you. 1 more breath in. 1 more breath out. Start to come back up to tabletop, hands and knees. And exhale to downward dog. We'll have 3 breaths there when you arrive. And exhaling. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. I think that was 3. With an inhale, bend your knees, look up toward the top of your mat. But with your exhale, walk your hands to the back of your mat so you end up in forward fold at the back. We're going to do a couple little frog squats here. If you want your blocks for support, that's a really good idea. I'm going to go up and grab mine and come on back kind of to this forward fold. First, let's halfway lift. So if you have your blocks, pushing your hands into the blocks, straightening out that spine. And then we'll start to find our frog squat. So I like to have my feet a little bit wider than normal. And then we're just gonna bend those knees. We're gonna pick up the heels and we're just gonna doing this frog pose. So not like our normal malasana yogi squat. Then we're going to forward fold. So we're just straightening those legs, bringing the heels back down, forward fold. With your inhale, come on down to frog. Bending your knees, pushing your hands into the floor, and kind of lifting your chest. Exhale, forward fold. One more time, inhale, frog. Exhale, fold. Bring those blocks back up toward the top of your mat. Just give them a little toss. Inhale, halfway lift. Stay here with a little bend of your knees. Reach your arms wide, like we're doing a reverse swan dive here, and then hinge up through your hips. Flip your palms toward the sky, and join hands overhead. Option to look up. And exhale, hands come down to heart center. Take a few breaths here, maybe closing your eyes. You can tune in to the sense of spaciousness at the heart center area. The sense of underlying calm behind it all. Pressing your thumbs into your sternum, see if you can feel your heartbeat. Let's take a clearing breath. Inhale through your nose. And sigh to release. Let's lower those hands down by the sides. We'll do a little bit of balancing here. We're going to do all of our balancing right now, so just make sure you have plenty of space. We're going to do it 4 times. I'm going to move these blocks off of my mat. Just clear in the space, however you need to. We'll come to the back of the mat here, or to a wall if you want some support, which is always nice. And your hands could be by your sides or holding onto your support or at your heart, just wherever you'd like. Shift all your weight over to that right leg and start to find one-legged mountain pose with the left knee lifting a bit. Kind of lengthening upward through the crown of your head, choosing your variation. Left toes could stay down or lift up, so that thigh is about parallel to the floor, if that works for you. Take a breath in here. Option to lift your hands up and overhead as you inhale. Exhale, lower the arms as you straighten that leg, left leg. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, one-legged mountain, arms lifting. Exhale, straighten your leg, arms float down. Touch your left heel to the floor, just a baby step here, and then step into the left foot. Coming to the tippy toes on your right leg. We'll transition into airplane pose here. Lots and lots of options. If you know your favorite airplane variation, go ahead and get right into it. I might offer keeping that right toes down on the floor there, the tippy toes. Reach your arms behind you, hug your shoulder blades together, and maybe start to tip forward just a little bit. Toes can stay down, or you can start to lift them up. If you want more of a challenge, you could bend and straighten into that standing leg and or reach your arms in front of you. With an inhale, see if you can rise back up. It's okay if you touch down to the floor. And see about bringing that right knee to one-legged mountain. Inhale, arms go high. Exhale, lower the arms, straighten the right leg. Inhale, arms lift, knee bends, one-legged mountain. Exhale, straighten, arms reach down, touch your right heel to the floor, step into that right foot. Take a breath in as you prepare for your airplane. And exhale, your version of airplane pose. We're just mostly balancing on one leg, whatever that looks like to you. You can play a little bit or keep it standard, your call. With an inhale, come back up. Bring that left knee up with you, one-legged mountain. Exhale here. Inhale, arms reach high. Exhale, straighten that left leg, arms down. Inhale, arms reach up, one-legged mountain. And exhale, lower it down, step that left foot forward. All the weight coming into that left foot. And again, finding your airplane, inhaling to prepare. Exhale, fly. Inhale, start to rise back up, bring that right knee up with you. Exhale, stay. Last round through. Inhale, arms reach high, straighten, or just keep that right knee bent. Exhale, lower the arms, straighten that right leg. One more like that. Inhale, bend your knee, arms reach high. And exhale, straighten and lower everything down, touching your right heel to the floor. Step forward. Inhale as you prepare for your last airplane. And exhale, your version of airplane pose. One last breath. Come back up and then step your left foot down to the floor. All right, we have one more side to go here. Let's do it a little bit quicker. So that was our balancing. We'll just do our flow one more time. So with an inhale, reach both arms high. Exhale, little baby back bend, bending those elbows, lifting the chest and the gaze up. Inhale, reach high, unwind. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands come down to the floor or block, stepping your left foot back first and then your right foot to your high plank. Just one breath in here. And breath out, knees lower. Move those blocks to the side, chest lowers. We're getting warm today. Option to do that ungrasped bow pose, I want to say. So you could either bend your knees and do that same variation where we lift the chest and just kind of reach for the arms, or you can keep your legs down and just take a classic baby cobra. Your call, wherever you choose to be. We're going to have 3 breaths there. So we're inhaling as we rise. Exhale, either stay or flow with it, lowering down. Inhale, either holding or lifting. Exhale. Last breath in. And breath out, lower down, find your crocodile pose, stacking your hands or fists beneath your forehead. And soften. One more breath. Let's take a clearing breath in through your nose. Sigh it out. Stay a little longer if you'd like. When you're ready, planting hands next to your chest and pressing tabletop. And then with an exhale, finding your way to child's pose. 3 breaths in child's pose. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. One more breath in. One more breath out. Inhale, rise up, tabletop. And exhale as you find your last downward dog of this practice. 3 breaths in down dog. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last breath in. Last breath out. Inhale, look forward, bend your knees so much that your knees actually come to the floor and you're in tabletop. Good. Breathing like normal. Let's bring those legs out in front of you and start to lower down onto your back. You can bring your knees along with you if you like. It's kind of like a slow-mo roll down to your back. I'll just take a little bit of free motion here as you circle your knees or rock your knees a little side to side, massaging out all those spots in the back, and the sacrum, and you can even kind of get into the glutes and the hip a little bit if you really try to go for it. And we'll take one more little twist here. So bringing your feet down to the floor. Arms can come out wide. And we'll pick up the pelvis, scoot way over toward the right edge of your mat, and then start twisting and lowering your knees down to the left. And option to keep your gaze wherever it already is. Or maybe you turn to look away from the knees, or in this case to the right. Making sure that right shoulder blade is down on the floor. Getting any props you might need between the knees or below, so that you're just in a nice comfy twist, so you're not straining again in your sweet spot. And then we'll start to think about switching sides, bringing your gaze back up, knees start to lift, and then scooting your pelvis way over toward the left edge of your mat this time, and then begin lowering your knees toward the right. Again, you might keep your gaze straight up or start to look away from the knees or slightly to the left. Make sure your body can feel safe to soften into this a bit. Sometimes it's really nice to have like a bolster or blankets between your knees or below your knees or both. Just about one more breath, unless you need a little extra longer, a little extra time longer. And then come back up, knees come up, scoot to the middle of your mat again. And then if there are any last poses, movements, or stretches that your body wants to flow into, now's a good time just to wrap up any physical movements that you'd like. And whenever you're ready, just getting as cozy as you can for our final rest. Maybe finding Shavasana with your arms and legs extended, or maybe that constructive rest pose where you bend your knees and bring your feet to the edges of your mat, and then kind of tuck your tailbone under, bring those knees together. Any kind of variations in the arms or legs, the whole body you can have variations with. So go ahead and get settled, taking your time as I set up our little sound bath. And during this sound bath, just simply try to listen and enjoy the music and do your best to relax and enjoy some rest. See you on the other side. you're starting to feel ready to move along, go ahead and begin to wiggle your fingers and toes, taking your sweet time, maybe rolling your head from one side to the other, maybe opening and closing your jaw, swallowing, or yawning. Maybe circling ankles or wrists, or heading into a long body stretch. Eventually choosing a side to roll onto, finding the fetal position with your knees slightly tucked in. Maybe your bottom arm is your pillow now. Take a full round of breath here, just resting on your side, honoring the transition. And when you're ready, using the help and strength of your hands, press your way on up to a comfortable seat. Maybe closing your eyes as you bring your hands together at heart center once more. Feel free to join me if you'd like in our closing chant. It goes Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. You can hum it, you can sing it, you can listen, whatever you're feeling tonight. If you're with me, let's take a big breath in to prepare. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, peace, peace, peace. Peace in our actions, peace in our words, peace in our thoughts. Bringing thumbs up to third eye center. And with a little gesture of gratitude, if it feels right to you, let's take a little bow forward together now. Peace.